Here we go. All right. Let me give you a word today. You ready for it? Legacy. Does it matter? Should you focus on it? What are you leaving as your legacy? What are you leaving in your wake of everything that you do every single day? Well, let's check it out. Let's talk about legacy. You ready? All right, listen. Here we go. So legacy is what? Legacy is what you can do now, and by planning will affect your life and others' lives that can endure for a long time. Something handed down from an ancestor or a predecessor or from the past. So let's go back, because that opening line, that very first statement, I want you to fixate on. I want you to focus on with me. Legacy is what you can do now. So everything that you're doing now is leaving something. Everything that you have in your life that's going on in your life is leaving something, right? And it's funny because you always hear, I was watching something the other day. Those of you guys that know me very well, I was an avid CrossFitter, been to the CrossFit Games, played in the Grid League and all those kind of things. Love training, right? And so hands down, the greatest CrossFitter of all time is a gentleman by the name of Matt Fraser. And they asked Matt on a podcast the other day. I was watching, and he was a guest on, and they asked him, like, do you ever think about your legacy? And he kind of got that, like, turned his head a little bit, and he said, no, I don't think about it because it's not up to me. And it got me thinking, like, wow, here's a guy that went on to create and become the greatest in the world at something. I mean, think about that. I mean, there's very few people that can ever say, I am the greatest in the world at X, whatever it is, right? And a lot of times there's no metrics in most of our lives. There's not enough metrics. There's no thing to really determine that. But there was. You get to stand on that podium. You get to be number one. But what he was saying, and what I loved, was that it wasn't about what was going to happen in the future or what people were going to say or all these things, even just winning the first time or whatever. It came down to just truly being the best version of me every day, that I got up every day to get better, and that I put training in place to get better. But that is exactly how we should all be living our lives. That every single day you should be getting 1% better. It's not about changing your life. You see, so many people want so many more things. They want all of these bigger goals or ambitions, or they want to have all these things materialistically or whatever. But yet, what we fail to realize is we have to change something that we do every day. And what you do is being seen by others. If you have children, they're watching, they're paying attention. If you're at work, your coworkers, your boss, the people around you, if you're the leader, you're the CEO, those people, they're watching what you do, not just listening to what you say. You are leaving a legacy, whether you want to or not. It's time to take back control and actually put a plan, actually start to think about, what is it that I want to leave? How is it that I want to be? Right? And it leads us into a couple other things: core values, boundaries, things that really, truly matter. Because when you don't have any boundaries, people take advantage, people push, they do things, right? And when I don't know if that's good or bad, it's because I don't have any boundaries. But let me ask you this: what are your values? And let me ask you truly, what legacy are you leaving? What are you leaving in your wake right this second, day in and day out? Because we hear a lot about a term, and you'll see it all over the place, about generational wealth, where wealth gets passed down from generation to generation, right? So when we go back to legacy, the second part of legacy, something handed down from an ancestor, right? That's when this wealth is getting passed down, right? People who did great things and they pass it down to their family. And so we understand generational wealth. But what if we start to focus, and what if we start to think about generational habits? What are those habits that you want to pass down from generation to generation? Are there any in your life right now that you truly want to pass down? Because we got to take a quick and hard look at ourselves, right? To understand am I doing the things that I want to pass down to generations? Because they're watching and they're hearing. People are going to tell stories about you, right? We tell stories all the time about our grandpas or about our parents or about our anybody that we had, coaches, people who maybe aren't around today, but we tell stories about them and what they did and who they were, right? The things that we learned. So I want you to understand is that even at a young age, or even at your age today, whether you believe it or not, you're leaving a legacy. And what is that legacy you want to leave? Because if you're listening to this and you're watching this, you have the opportunity to be in control of that. There's not a lot. Those people that we're telling those stories about, they don't have it. They just hope, maybe, we want to tell great stories. We want to say great things and how we learn these things that were into our lives, things that were given to us or taught to us by someone else who maybe won't be around today. And those are the habits. So I want you to focus deeper on generational habits. And I want you to ask yourself, what habits are you leaving today? And are they worth leaving? Because when we say the word generational wealth, do you know by the time it gets 2 or 3 generations away from the original breadwinner, the original wealth, the person who generated that wealth, do you want to know that most of it, there's so many times where it goes away because the person who is the benefactor of that wealth doesn't know the habits that it took to get it and isn't equipped to maintain it or grow it. So it normally goes away. It goes away. But imagine if through that, we were passing around generational habits that could teach people around us to be better, to work on their mindset so that they could believe in themselves, so that they can believe in the greater, so that they could see themselves as somebody. Because so many people are struggling right now. So many people just don't see it. They get caught up in the news. They get caught up in this media cycle that 90% of it is fabricated anyways. And then we get into this cycle and we end up going down these rabbit holes and we end up someplace that we truly don't want to be. Well, this is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to change it. Because the only way we do it is ourselves. You have to be the change, right? You've heard that a million times. I'm pretty sure it's a Gandhi quote, right? But you have to be the change. What that means is you want to leave generational habits. You want to leave a legacy of how to build the best version of you. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not about leaving the material things. It's not about anything. But if you can put the people around you in a position to be the best version of themselves, to reach their potential, to grow and believe in themselves, then you have something that's going to last for many, many, many generations that can be passed down. So I urge you, write it down. What generational habits do you have that you want to leave? And if you don't have them now, all you have to do is build them. One little day at a time. Write it down and be the change. All right. That's what I got for you today. It's about your legacy. Does it matter? Sure it does. Because you're leaving it whether you want to or not. All right. Like I say always, there's somebody out there that you can touch that I can't, that we at Optimal Self can't touch. And I hope that you have the power, you have the courage to share it with them. Send it over. Just share a link. Say, hey, you should take a look, take a listen. And if it's not this one, there's many, many others that can hopefully help somebody reframe and recharge and be the best version of themselves. All right. So have an awesome morning, night, weekend, day, whenever you're listening to this. I want nothing but the best for you. And get out there and be the best version of you.